Welcome to Wisdom from the Trenches. Today, we will be talking about homeschooling challenges and the importance of being part of a community. Hi, I'm Christian and I'm here with Tarah. Tarah, thank you so much for agreeing to have this conversation. So, we're talking about homeschooling. What propelled you to begin homeschooling?
We've been homeschooling for about 13 years, started in 2006. And my husband has always thought that homeschooling was a great idea. I really liked school, so for me, the idea of homeschooling didn't sound so great, to be honest. And when we were looking at our school options, I thought, maybe if we went half day to school, and then he could go for social reasons, and then we could just stay at home and continue learning, that would be the best route. In the end, it just made more sense, practically speaking, that he stayed home and we just tried it for a year. I thought, I think this seems like the right thing to do after considering all the different options. It just seemed like he was already learning easily with me and we were enjoying each other, and I just loved having him around. And I was
So what did you think was the huge challenge from the beginning up to now?
I think initially it was, am I doing everything right? And I didn't really know what it was that was, the standard checklist. And so for me, it really helped me to get a hold of something. I was just with my personality style. I needed somebody to tell me how to do it right. So I got a hold of a book called The Well-Trained Mind by Susan Bauer. And it had just very specific details for what to do for each of the classes. So that's how I got started. I needed someone to tell me what to do to start with. And just to sort of like, practically speaking, step by step, the nuts and bolts of what would be a good education. Because education in that traditional sort of fulsome approach was what, at the time, I was really focused on. Mm-hmm. Over the years, that has totally changed. Once I kind of felt confident in what I was doing, we really are very different in our education now. It's much more interest-driven. And I think the other challenge for me personally was isolation, because I felt like I was home with my kids all the time. It was just hard, as when the kids are little, it's hard. And then when you're trying to educate them, I just never had time to myself. And I think it is a real challenge for people getting started, to be home all the time, and also to feel like you're on your own. So I think one of the big things that was really important to me was getting involved with a co-op. And it's our best years. When I think about, homeschooling, the times that we spent with other parents, we'd go on fall hikes and to swimming lessons together, and just having that sense of community. And I think when kids are younger, when everyone is sort of at the same place, just getting started out, it's the easiest time to build community, because you're learning so much from each other. You're so hungry for that.
So how did you find those communities, or how did you build those communities? Because it seems to be a really key part of it.
Yes. I think that, practically speaking, if you want community, you have to build it, really, because what I have found is there's a lot of people who really want to get together with others and do things with other people, but there's not a lot of people who are willing to take the initiative. If no one takes the initiative, then it won't happen. Nowadays, there's Facebook. When we first got started, it wasn't even around very much. We had Yahoo groups. Yeah. So, but it was more sort of just being a little bit more assertive about it and saying, hey, we're doing this. Do you want to come? Almost like you're marketing something. Of course, you don't get anything from it. And people really don't always appreciate it. So it's a thankless job to put the effort into building that community. But at the end of the day, so many people benefit. So I think initially I just got plugged into a co-op. So I found a co-op that was going on, and then I participated a lot, mm-hmm. And then there were just lots of other things that over the years, we made an effort to organize field trips. Was something that was, our kids were doing, when we first got started, we were doing at least a field trip a month. Mm-hmm. And the schools aren't even doing that. And our field trips were much better in the sense that when we went to the zoo, for example, we could stay and linger the whole day and do exercises and take our time at looking at the animals. And when you're with a huge group with the schools, oftentimes because they have to get back in time, they're not with their families, they have to rush right through, right? So our field trips were always really high quality, and we did a lot of them, and it was great.
So it's not only the homeschool benefits the child. As an adult, we grow a lot.
I think so too. I think you can develop even professional type skills within the role of facilitator for homeschool events. And I actually was thinking about the value of homeschool to me as well in terms of learning, because even just learning how to educate someone, that's a skill in itself, isn't it? And when while you're educating, you're learning so much. And I became very interested in learning it late in life. I mean, as a kid, I wasn't a huge reader. And I think that homeschooling has just educated me, honestly. Like it's further, I did higher education, but I also feel like I've gotten so much more education as a result of being the educator. So it's been great for that as well. It was unexpected. Like you don't really think about that benefit of it.
Exactly. It's kind of like it brings you aha moments. Kind of like, oh, that's why. Okay, I got it. Like we have been reading history, geography, and at school you just go. You had to memorize the dates, and you had to, but you don't really go in depth. And if it's something that your child or yourself are really interested, you start digging in, and you have the freedom to dig in as much as you want, especially like you said, interest driven.
Yes.
And you learn so many things that never cross their mind.
That's right. And I think that they are retained more easily because there's that interest there.
Yes.
And enjoyment, the joy factor. So it's kind of more cemented into your memory and into your understanding.
Exactly.
Broader applications too. Yeah, we've actually had a number of amazing learning opportunities as a result of those initiatives that have been taken. So, for example, you know, as homeschooling groups, sometimes you don't realize, a lot of people don't know that you can actually apply as a school to certain institutions that give schools benefits. I'm just thinking of example, the Canadian Geographic Society. So they will allow you to borrow a map for your school, and they give you the entire bundle that they would give the schools. They gave it to us as a homeschool.
Yeah, I remember that activity. Yeah. It was awesome.
It was amazing. So I've done that a couple of times.
The geography was amazing. It was like a giant map of Canada, and we had to put where the resources, the economical resources come. There was oil, there was water, there was turbines, and the kids still talk about it sometimes at home.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, look at the turbines. We did it on the big map, and we get to see them. So
yeah, the map was, I think, 100 feet wide and 100 feet tall, and kids could walk all over it. And we also did the student boat, thing here locally, and that was fantastic because it was free resources for parents to teach at home, but then we came together as a group and had a mock collection. Then students got to cast their ballots, and then we saw who our groups did it with the different groups around the area.
So that was quite an interesting experience. And for a lot of kids, that was a lot of clicking, oh, this is why it's important to vote. This is why it matters. Rather than just seeing their parents kind of like, what are they talking about?
Right. So it was applicable to them individually, right?
Exactly.
And they could, maybe a lot of them, I think, weren't really even aware of the whole electoral process before that activity was made available to them. And then they're like, oh, yeah, this is something I'm actually interested in and I can see. Then for the higher level, the upper grades, some of them were getting pretty heated in some of the debates because there's such a broad range of homeschoolers on all different sides of the political spectrum, right?
Oh, yes.
So they were getting really heated in some of their views, which is exactly what politics is about.
Exactly. It's
about
really conversation and why this, why that. No, you're right. And it is not right or wrong. It's how things are done and how does it get together and their understanding of what is their civic responsibility.
And it was just such a great chance to make use of some free resources that the government has made available to the schools that are available to homeschoolers. There's a lot of those different free resources. And I think it's really valuable for homeschool students who are often on their own and doing things their own way to do things a little bit differently with other kids. And maybe it's not the way they would normally do it, but to have a different experience and to, I think that's so valuable. And to follow the instructions of someone else for a while, other than the one, their mom, which definitely they should follow, or their dad, they should follow those instructions for sure. But it's good. There's something healthy, I think, about having more of a diverse input, from different leaders in their lives.
So I think that community is not just important for the kids, because I think that many of the parents, and I would have been probably included 4 years ago, it was all about academics and the kids, and that's it. But once you dive into this, it's not just the academics and the kids. As a homeschooler, as a parent, as an adult, you grow with them. So I think that those are very important points that you're bringing.
I will just kind of reiterate that as the parents, and particularly as the moms, when we take the time to put into the relationship building, and it's not always easy, because there's a lot of people who homeschool will often have really strong opinions about the best way to go about things or the best form of education, and the nature of it itself is something that kind of lends it to somebody who's really strong, right? You're a stronger person when you're homeschooling. And so you have strong personalities coming together. Sometimes there's like some challenges with that, but the beauty that comes from sort of appreciating the differences and really having a humble approach to, okay, you're doing something differently. I want to look at that and think about that, I just think it helps people develop personally. I think as we really listen to each other and have an appreciation for each other, we grow. And I think that it's something that is also a matter of actually loving and helping other people too, because you help other people grow when you listen and appreciate. So
you have learned so much from other parents, how they do things differently. And yes, a lot of homeschoolers like myself, we are headstrong and we see there is this way to do it. But there is this window that opens and says, oh, that looks interesting.
Right.
Tell me more about it.
Right.
And that's another thing that is beautiful about homeschooling. It's like you pick the curiosity of how things can be different, and there is always a space to grow. There is always a space to grow and to develop, and you grow as a family, because also if mom grows, the kids follow.
Right.
That's another nice thing about homeschooling. Oh, so this is not the way that we do it. No, but there is this other way, and it's pretty cool too. And they start opening their minds that there is not just my way or the highway. There are different ways to arrive to a destination.
Right.
So that's really nice. It is that we get to grow from each other. And like we mentioned, if I don't know it, you know it. That's what the importance of community. If you don't know something, you can go and ask somebody else.
Right.
And it's not easy to ask. Sometimes we have to swallow our pride or our fear, anxiety, and you have to step up, and that helps you grow. That gives you strength to step up and say,
yes, it does.
Help, I don't know how to do this. And that's just beautiful in homeschooling. So do you have any suggestions for parents who are just beginning?
I think that the main thing is just that it's going to be okay. I don't think anyone should approach homeschool with an attitude, it doesn't matter what I do, they're going to turn out fine, because I think that that's doing a disservice, and it's not true. I think that you need to be deliberate, and you need to have intention in your teaching, and but the resources that are out there and the availability of community that's there is extensive, and you can do it. I guess that's the main thing, is it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I guess the second thing is just to plug into a community where you can, and be deliberate about forming relationships with people and trying to get together. Of course, during this lockdown with COVID-19, it's very, very challenging to do that in person. And I think that we have to continue trying to figure out ways to go about that. in a safe way and connecting with each other. But thankfully, our kind of virtual connectedness is somewhat helpful as far as that goes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching our video. Remember to check out the video description, which contains the links and information we talked about. Like, subscribe, and share. See ya!